let's put the spotlight on the EMS space and find out that what's been happening in this space. And let's talk with the biggest player there. We are being joined by Atul Lall, who is the Vice Chairman and MD of Dixon Technologies. Hi, good morning, Mr. Lall, and thank you so much for your time. First up, just wanted to get the bigger picture from you, because there's been many announcements with respect to the EMS space as well, with global manufacturing realigning, companies reassessing their supply chains. Help us understand that how do you see this shift impacting the industry and what could be in the store for India? How do you see the export opportunities growing and the likely impact?
So electronics manufacturing in India is at an inflection point. In the last 4 years, the industry itself has grown from $30 billion to around $120 odd billion. And this is expected to touch almost $500 billion in the next 4 to 5 years by 2029-30. And globally, and so is the case in India, globally out of $3 trillion of electronics industry, almost $1 trillion is EMS. In India, by 23, the EMS industry was almost $20 billion. We feel that in the next 4 to 5 years, this industry is going to touch around $100 billion. And a significant part of it is going to be for the global markets. So I think we are sitting on a very large opportunity. In Dixon itself, if you see, when we got listed in 2017, we were barely a 2,000 crore company. And in this fiscal, in the last 7 years, we're going to close at almost 38,000 crores of revenue. So it's a high growth industry. Opportunity is immense. However, it has to be taken to next level, wherein the industry has to acquire the IP skill set and also deepen the value addition and improve automation, robotics, digitization, so that the industry becomes globally competitive. Opportunity immense, but comes along with that also a huge focus any company in the EMS sector should have on the deliverables.
Right, quite interesting. Mr. Lall, also wanted to understand, given that you're a major beneficiary of the government's PLI scheme, however, we've seen cases where the government shifts focus to other sectors once strong growth is achieved, case in point being EVs. How do you anticipate future policy changes affecting your business?
So in Dixon, we are beneficiaries under 5 PLI scheme. We are the only domestic companies which has achieved thresholds in mobile. We have also achieved thresholds and got the PLI subsidies in the telecom space. And so is the case in air conditioning components and lighting components. We're setting up a large campus under the IT PLI 2 for the Government of India, wherein we are going to be manufacturing laptops, servers, all in ones. The first scheme of PLI, that's the mobile scheme, then sunset is in 25-26. So let's see how the government takes that forward. At the same time, we are keenly looking forward to the government's expected rollout of an incentive scheme on components. And here we're talking about non-semiconductor components. Non-semiconductor components contribute almost 50% to the bill of material of any electronic device, wherein we are talking about PCBs, wherein we are talking about display modules, camera modules, sensors, mechanical enclosure. We expect that this scheme is going to be rolled out in next 3 to 4 weeks. And in that, Dixon is going to be an active participant, because we want to be part of the story in India, wherein the component ecosystem is being set up. That is a must for the industry to acquire a mass, to acquire a competitive cost structure, and to acquire stability. In fact, if this happens, then India across various categories of products is going to be ready for servicing the global markets. So we are thankful to the government for a very supportive policy framework, and we feel that the first objective of acquiring the skill set and competitive cost structure for device manufacturing has already been achieved. Now comes a time wherein we deepen the value addition, both in semiconductor and non-semiconductor, and acquire IP. So we're very confident the government policy framework in the coming years is going to be very supportive of the industry.
But Mr. Lal, when you say that the new policy and the new PLI incentive policy with respect to the India semiconductor mission could likely be there in the next 3 to 4 weeks, help us understand that by when do you see the revenues flowing in? Because we understand that the new plant and the plans regarding that are already in place. But can we expect that from FY27 or maybe in the second half of FY26 is when the revenues can also start coming in?
So here I was not referring to ISM2. This incentive scheme I was referring to was for non-semiconductor components, which we are expecting to be rolled out shortly. In Dixon, we have already started the process of setting up a manufacturing facility for display modules. This facility is coming up in Noida. We hope to operationalize it in Q3 of 25-26. This is with a capacity of 2 million units per month of display modules for mobiles. It's going to be doubled to 4 million units per month in a year's time. And also in phase 2, we're going to be adding to it displays for laptops and tablets. So Dixon's journey in the component ecosystem has already taken off.
All right, but also, Mr. Lal, there's a lot of excitement with respect to your electronic components. If you can help us understand that, what is the likely ROC from this particular segment?
So I'm not in a position to share the exact numbers, but please be rest assured, Dixon in his journey has always focused on a very high ROC. The Q3 ROC numbers in the current fiscal were as high as 42%. So it's going to be a high ROC business, this one also, although the asset turns in this business are relatively lower as compared to our devices business, but ROCs are going to be very, very high.
Okay, hopeful of that. Mr. Lal, the other thing, especially right now, when you're hearing so much about, tariff, Trump, China, and what have you, and almost pretty much a changing landscape in the way global businesses have been run till now. Achieving economies of scale is very crucial, I guess, when it comes to component manufacturing. How is it that you plan to justify the investment and compete against Chinese giants? And if that be the case, what is Dixon's moat?
You see, creating a large scale is the basic pillar of a business thesis. If you see any of our businesses, we have set up very large capacities, and that's a must for generating an operating leverage for lowering the cost. If you look at our mobile business, which is our largest business, within this year, we'll have a capacity of almost 65 to 70 million mobiles annually, which is almost 45 to 50% of the Indian requirement. In televisions, we have a capacity of 6.5 million units, wherein the Indian requirement is around 14 to 15 million. That is almost 40-45% of the Indian requirement. Look at washing machines, we have a capacity of 3 million. Indian requirement is around 10 million, that's 30%. So please be rest assured that scale is an extremely important element in our business strategy. And so is going to be the case in our component business. Step by step is going to be built so that we have a large share of the Indian pie. In fact, it's going to be a capacity of the global standard. It's a must for us to lower our cost, to deliver on our cost commitments to our customers, because operating leverage in this business is the keys to success. So your question is very, very apt, that scale and a large scale is a must, and we're committed to it.
Mr. Lal, since you just highlighted that one should be rest assured with respect to the ROC or ROE profile of your new ventures, but the street is a little concerned about that, how they will impact your overall margins as per se. So can you give us a sense that when these new facilities or new ventures come on board, what is the likely margin profile, or at least give us a sense that in what range are you expecting these numbers to pan out?
So if you see the financial matrix of the components in which Dixon is foray, As compared to devices manufacturing, this is a lower asset to turnover ratio business. However, the margins are relatively, in fact, significantly higher. So please be rest assured that once the commercial production starts and the business stabilizes, which is going to take some time, and it happens in any business, and so is the case here, on the blended basis, the margins are going to inch up. How much they're going to inch up, we'll have to wait and watch because that number crunching is happening. Please be rest assured, however, that the margins on a blended basis are going to go up.
So Nikunj Dalmia also joining in. Always a pleasure to connect with you.
Morning, Nikunj.
My whole point about this PLI is that from a market standpoint, we don't know whether the PLI will get extended or not. And the dependence on PLI for all EMS companies is very large. So have you got a sense that which way after 3 years the PLI schemes would move? Because that in a sense will become this nervous movement for the market. PLI aa raha hai, PLI nahi aa raha hai, PLI aa raha hai, PLI nahi aa raha hai. How does one deal with this?
Please appreciate, Nikunj, that for any industry to grow, to become competitive, some hand-holding from the government in its stages of infancy is essential, it's required. And I think government very prudently has done that. And that's the reason that kind of massive growth is taking place. We in Dixon are extremely conscious of the fact that this PLI scheme is not going to stay for a very long time. This 5 years of support system in the government, we have been parallelly very deeply working to stand on our own feet. And please be rest assured that now we are almost there. Our productivity, our cost structures, our cost of manufacturing is comparable, in fact, better than any of our peers, is comparable to the global standard. So the lines have been replicated and the efficiency of the lines is very similar to what we have in the border countries. So please be rest assured as far as the manufacturing capability and manufacturing efficiency is concerned in India, in Dixon, and also my peers within India are comparable to the best in the world. However, now comes the next stage wherein deepening of manufacturing and expanding of value addition is essential. And that's what we are working on. It's not easy, but we are committed to it because we know that for us to grow, for us to improve our financials, for us to improve our margins, and to take a plunge and to take a company forward for servicing the global markets, that deepening of value addition is extremely important. So that's where we are. As far as the Indian markets are concerned, our share is extremely high across all the categories. We are almost at 30 to 40% of the addressable market. So dependence of Dixon on PLI is there for an initial support to build its business. But beyond that, we realize, and we're committed to it, that Dixon will be standing on its own feet.
To wrap it up with one final point, today what the attempt by the Indian government is import substitution, which is that what was coming from China, what was coming from other markets, substituted, get companies like Keynes and Dixon's, they would be able to do import substitution. But what about export feasibility? At what stage you think you would be export ready where you're gaining market share from China on the export market, not winning because of local indigenization?
So in certain product categories, we have already started exporting, and mobiles is one of them. And our partners have shifted certain percentage of their global requirement to India and to Dixon. And next year, we see a significant increase in export numbers. From 1,200 odd crores, I feel this number for mobiles itself is going to touch around 3,500, 4,000 crores. So it's still a small, almost 8-10% of our revenues, but there's going to be massive growth. So mobiles is definitely happening. Across some of our other product categories like refrigerators, we are getting, and also television, we're getting very serious export inquiries from the nearby markets, the markets of UAE and within SAARC, And also now we're getting inquiries for televisions from US. So it's looking interesting. I think step by step in electronics, India and Dixon is going to have a significant play.
Mr. Lall, so good having you on the show. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.